Ladies and gentlemen, there is something about the silence of the night that speaks louder than the noise of the day. If you have ever found yourself waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., I want you to know this is not a coincidence. This is a sign that life is whispering to you, nudging you, asking you to listen. But the question is, are you paying attention? The world is quiet between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. And if you want to get instant gratification, the world is quiet between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. The streets are empty, the chaos has settled, and everything stands still. In these hours, when the rest of the world is deep in slumber, something extraordinary happens. You wake up. Not because of an alarm, not because of noise, but because something deep inside you refuses to let you sleep. It is in these moments that life is trying to tell you something you might have been too busy to hear during the day. This is not just another restless night. It is an invitation to transformation, to self-discovery, to something far greater than what you have been allowing yourself to believe. Most people see waking up at this hour as an inconvenience. They toss and turn, trying to force themselves back to sleep, thinking about how exhausted they will feel the next day. But what if, instead of fighting it, you embraced it? What if, instead of seeing this as an interruption, you saw it as an opportunity? Because the truth is, not everyone wakes up at this hour. There is something about this time that is deeply spiritual, profoundly meaningful, and undeniably powerful. In these early morning hours, before the sun rises and before the demands of the day take over, the universe creates a rare space for reflection. This is the time when your thoughts are unfiltered, when your emotions surface without distractions, and when your heart speaks the loudest. It is in these moments that you can hear the voice within you, the one that often gets drowned out by the noise of daily life, the voice that asks you, are you truly happy? Are you living the life you were meant to live? Is there something more waiting for you? These are not easy questions to face, and that is why so many people try to silence them. They reach for their phones, they distract themselves, they convince themselves that they just need more sleep. But the truth is, if you're waking up at this hour, there is something you need to confront. Transformation is not something that happens in loud, crowded places. It does not happen when you're surrounded by people who tell you what you want to hear. It happens in solitude, it happens in silence, it happens in the moments when you are alone with your thoughts, with your fears, and with your dreams. And this hour between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is the perfect time for that transformation to begin. It is in this quiet space that you can truly see yourself, not as the world expects you to be, but as you really are. When you wake up in the middle of the night, you are not the same person you are during the day. During the day, you wear masks. You smile when you don't feel like it. You say you're fine when you're not. You push your dreams aside because life seems too busy. But at this hour, there is no one to impress, no expectations to meet, no distractions to hide behind. It is just you and your truth. And maybe that is why so many people fear this hour, because it forces them to face themselves. But what if, instead of fearing it, you embraced it? What if, instead of rolling over and trying to force yourself back to sleep, you sat with yourself and listened? You might hear the voice inside you reminding you of the dreams you abandoned. You might remember the passions you once had before life convinced you they weren't practical. You might feel the weight of emotions you've been ignoring, the sadness, the longing, the hope that refuses to die. This is not something to run from. This is something to pay attention to. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is not just about sleeplessness. It is about awakening. It is about recognizing that there is something within you that needs to be acknowledged. Maybe it is a deep yearning for change. Maybe it is a call to start something new. Maybe it is a reminder that you are meant for more than what you have settled for. Whatever it is, this hour is the universe's way of nudging you toward it. And yet, so many people waste this time. They overthink, they worry, they tell themselves that they need more rest. But the truth is, the most meaningful transformations do not come from comfort. They come from discomfort. From those moments when you are forced to sit with yourself and ask the hard questions. Who are you really? What do you want? What is holding you back? The answers to these questions are not easy, but they are necessary. Because once you face them, you cannot go back to pretending they do not exist. This hour is not just about waking up physically, it is about waking up emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It is about understanding that life is giving you a chance to reconnect with yourself in a way that the daytime never allows. It is about stepping into your power and realizing that you are not lost. You are just being called to something greater. So the next time you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., do not fight it. Do not dismiss it. Do not waste it. Instead, embrace it. Listen to what your heart is trying to tell you. Write down your thoughts, your fears, your dreams. Sit in silence and let yourself feel, because in these moments you are not just awake, you are awakening. And that is where true transformation begins. There are moments in life when everything around you falls silent, yet something inside you is louder than ever. Between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., when the world sleeps and distractions fade, your soul begins to whisper. It speaks in feelings, in thoughts you've pushed aside, in dreams you once believed in but abandoned. This is not just another restless night. It is an invitation, a gentle nudge from the universe, reminding you to listen, to truly listen. But how often do we pay attention? How often do we honor the voice within us? The truth is, most people ignore it. They wake up, feel restless, and either scroll through their phones or fight to fall back asleep. They convince themselves it is just another sleepless night, nothing more. But what if this is not random? What if, in this quiet hour, your heart is trying to tell you something you need to hear? During the day, life moves fast. We are constantly occupied answering messages, chasing deadlines, fulfilling responsibilities. There is hardly a moment to pause and reflect. Our minds are consumed with noise, expectations from others, doubts, fears, and endless distractions. But in the stillness of the early morning, when everything else fades, something powerful happens. The distractions disappear, the masks we wear during the day come off, and we are left with nothing but ourselves. It is in this moment that our soul finally gets a chance to speak. And yet, listening to our own soul is not always easy. It often speaks in ways we don't expect, in the form of emotions we've suppressed, memories we've tried to forget, or dreams we've convinced ourselves are impossible. It reminds us of the things we truly desire but have been too afraid to pursue. It brings to the surface the pain we need to heal, the change we need to embrace, and the truths we need to accept. This is why so many people avoid listening, because facing ourselves can be uncomfortable. But ignoring it does not make it go away. The more we push it aside, the louder it gets. That feeling of restlessness, that ache in your heart, that longing for something more, these are not coincidences. They are messages. Your soul is asking you to listen. So the next time you wake up at this hour, don't silence it. Instead, sit with it. Close your eyes and breathe. Ask yourself, what is my heart trying to tell me? What am I feeling? What have I been avoiding? And then listen, truly listen, not with fear, not with judgment, but with openness. Maybe your soul is reminding you of a dream you left behind. Maybe it is telling you to let go of something that is no longer serving you. Maybe it is guiding you toward a new path, a new purpose, a new beginning. Whatever it is, trust it. Because deep down, you already know what you need. You just have to be willing to hear it. Some of the most life-changing realizations come in these quiet moments. The answers you have been searching for are already within you. Your heart knows the way, even when your mind is filled with doubt. But you must be willing to listen. You must be brave enough to follow. So when you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., don't see it as an inconvenience. See it as a gift, a rare moment where the universe gives you time with yourself. Don't fill it with distraction. Don't rush to go back to sleep. Instead, listen to the whispers of your soul, because in those whispers you might just find the truth you've been looking for. In the stillness of the early morning, when the world is quiet and distractions fade, thoughts from the past often resurface, moments long gone, decisions once made, paths not taken, all of them return asking to be acknowledged. It is easy to feel overwhelmed by these memories, to sink into regret regret, to wish that things had been different. But regret is a heavy burden, one that keeps you chained to a past that cannot be changed. The true power of looking back is not in wishing things had been different, but in learning from them, growing through them, and using them as stepping stones to something greater. Regret makes you a prisoner of the past, constantly replaying what went wrong and drowning in self-pity. It convinces you that you should have known better, that you made the wrong choices, that you wasted time. But regret does not change the past. It only steals your present. It is a never-ending cycle of self-blame, one that leaves no room for growth. Reflection, on the other hand, is different. Reflection allows you to look back not with sorrow, but with understanding. It turns mistakes into lessons, failures into wisdom, and pain into strength. Everyone has moments they wish they could rewrite, choices they would make differently if given the chance, but dwelling on them with regret only deepens the wound. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What did this teach me?" Every experience, no matter how painful, carries a lesson. Sometimes it teaches resilience. Sometimes it teaches patience. Sometimes it reveals hidden strength. But these lessons can only be learned when you stop seeing your past as a series of mistakes and start seeing it as a journey of growth. Looking back with learning means accepting that you did the best you could with what you knew at the time. Hindsight is always clear, but in the moment you made choices based on your understanding, emotions, and circumstances. Holding on to regret for not knowing then what you know now is unfair to yourself. Growth means evolving, and evolving means that at times you will outgrow the decisions of your past. That is not failure, that is progress. Painful experiences often come with the temptation to label them as wasted time. A failed relationship, a career setback, a missed opportunity. All of them can feel like time lost, but nothing is truly wasted if it leads to growth. Even heartbreak teaches love. Even failure teaches perseverance. Even loss teaches gratitude. The key is to shift your perspective from "I should have done better" to "I am better because of it." There are moments when self-pity feels comforting, as though dwelling in regret can somehow change what has already happened. But the truth is, it only deepens the wound. You do not need to punish yourself for the past. You need to learn from it. When you reflect instead of regret, you take control of your narrative. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of your choices and start seeing yourself as someone who has gained wisdom from them. Reflection also allows you to recognize patterns. When you pause and truly examine your past, you begin to see what choices led you to certain outcomes. You begin to notice the habits that no longer serve you, the mindsets that held you back, and the fears that kept you from moving forward. Awareness is the first step toward change, and without reflection, awareness is impossible. In the quiet hours between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., the past often comes knocking. But instead of letting it haunt you, let it teach you. Instead of seeing it as a reminder of what went wrong, see it as a map guiding you toward what can go right. The past is not meant to be a weight you carry. It is meant to be a lesson that empowers you. Every moment you have lived, every decision you have made has shaped the person you are today. And the person you are today is not defined by regret, but by the strength to reflect, to learn, and to keep moving forward. In the quiet hours of the early morning, when the world is still and thoughts become louder, it is easy to focus on what is missing. The mind naturally drifts toward regrets, unfulfilled desires, and unanswered prayers. It fixates on what could have been, what should have been, and what is still out of reach. In these moments, gloom creeps in, wrapping itself around the heart like a heavy fog, making it difficult to see anything but emptiness. But the truth is, even in the darkest moments, there is something to be grateful for. Even in the midst of longing, there is something already present, something valuable, something meaningful. The challenge is not in finding it, but in shifting focus to see it. Gratitude is a powerful force, one that has the ability to transform not just thoughts, but entire lives. It does not erase pain, nor does it invalidate struggles, but it brings balance. It reminds you that even as you yearn for more, you already have so much. The problem is that the human mind is conditioned to seek what is lacking. It notices the gaps before it acknowledges the fullness. It counts disappointments more readily than blessings, and in doing so, it creates a narrative of scarcity, one that convinces you that happiness is always just out of reach, always dependent on something yet to come. But what if, instead of focusing on what is missing, you chose to see what is already there? What if, in those early hours, instead of dwelling on the dreams yet to be fulfilled, you reminded yourself of the ones that already have been? There was a time when you wished for things that you have now. There were moments when you longed for what is currently part of your reality, but the mind, always chasing more, often forgets to pause and acknowledge how far it has come. Gratitude is not about denying struggles or pretending that everything is perfect. It is about recognizing that even in the midst of difficulties, there is goodness. Even in uncertainty, there are small certainties to hold on to. The breath in your lungs, the roof over your head, the people who care for you, the lessons you have learned. These are not insignificant. They are reminders that life, despite its challenges, continues to offer something worth appreciating. The danger of dwelling in gloom is that it blinds you to the beauty that still exists. It convinces you that joy is for others, that fulfillment is always elsewhere, that peace is always in the future. But gratitude shifts the lens. It allows you to see that even in this moment, there is something to be thankful for. Even if life is not exactly as you envisioned it, even if there are still unanswered prayers, even if the road ahead feels uncertain, there is something in the present that holds value. It is easy to compare, to look at others and feel as though their lives are more complete, their journeys more fulfilling. Social media, conversations, fleeting glimpses into the lives of others, these things often create the illusion that everyone else has figured it out, that they are standing in the light while you remain in the shadows. But comparison is a thief, one that robs you of the ability to appreciate your own story. The truth is, everyone has struggles. Everyone has moments of doubt, of longing, of wishing for more. The difference lies in where they place their focus. Gratitude is not a natural habit. It is a practice. It requires intentionality. It requires waking up and choosing, despite the imperfections, to see the good. It requires pausing in moments of frustration to acknowledge what is still right. It is not a denial of hardship, but a refusal to let hardship define everything. When gratitude becomes a way of thinking, it changes not just moods, but perspectives. It turns ordinary moments into blessings. It transforms the simple into the extraordinary. There will always be something more to achieve, something more to long for, something more to strive toward. Ambition is natural and dreams are necessary. But the danger is in postponing happiness until those dreams are realized. If fulfillment is always tied to the next milestone, the next achievement, the next change, then it will forever be just out of reach. True peace comes not from having everything, but from recognizing the value of what is already here. So when the morning stillness brings thoughts of what is missing, when the weight of longing feels overwhelming, remember to shift the focus. There is something in this moment that is worthy of gratitude. There is something in your life right now that is good. And by choosing to see it, by embracing it, by holding on to it, the gloom begins to fade and the light begins to shine through. Thoughts are fleeting. They come and go like waves, sometimes soft and steady, other times overwhelming and chaotic. The mind is a constant stream of emotions, ideas, dreams, and worries, all fighting for attention. In the stillness of the early morning, when distractions are absent and the world is quiet, these thoughts become louder. They demand to be heard, but if left unspoken or unwritten, they often slip away, lost in the noise of the day. This is why writing is so powerful. It is not just an act of recording words. It is an act of understanding, of making sense of the intangible, of giving structure to the thoughts that would otherwise remain scattered. Thinking alone is not enough. The mind is complex, and thoughts are often tangled, overlapping, and contradicting. One moment, there is a surge of motivation, a realization of something important, a deep insight about life, but without writing it down, that thought may fade before it ever takes root. How many times have great ideas been lost simply because they were never captured? How many moments of clarity have been forgotten because they were never put into words? Writing transforms abstract thoughts into something real, something that can be revisited, analyzed, and understood. Journaling is more than just putting words on paper. It is a form of self-reflection. It is a conversation with oneself, a chance to explore emotions, fears, and dreams without judgment. The process of writing slows down the mind, forcing it to focus on one thought at a time. It allows for deeper introspection, bringing hidden feelings to the surface and revealing patterns that might not have been noticed otherwise. When thoughts remain trapped in the mind, they often feel bigger and more complicated than they really are. But once they are written, they become clearer, more manageable. Writing allows problems to be seen from a different perspective, and sometimes solutions emerged that were not obvious before. There is something profoundly liberating about journaling. It is a safe space, free from expectations, where authenticity thrives. There is no need to filter words, no need to impress anyone. It is a place to be raw, honest, and vulnerable. It is where unspoken fears can be acknowledged, where dreams can be explored without limitation, where emotions can be processed without fear of judgment. In a world that often demands perfection, journaling is a reminder that imperfection is not only acceptable, but necessary for growth. Purpose is not always something that is instantly known. It is something that is discovered, uncovered piece by piece, often through deep self-reflection. And journaling is one of the most powerful tools for this discovery. When writing becomes a habit, patterns begin to emerge. Certain thoughts and desires repeat themselves, revealing what truly matters. Hidden passions, long-buried dreams, and subconscious longings find their way to the surface. Over time, the pages of a journal become a map, guiding the way toward clarity and purpose. Many people struggle with finding direction, feeling lost or uncertain about their path in life. But often the answers are already within them. They just need to be recognized. Writing provides that recognition. It allows thoughts to be examined, questioned, and refined. What seems like confusion in the mind often becomes clear on paper. A problem that felt unsolvable suddenly feels smaller, more approachable. An idea that seemed out of reach begins to take shape. Writing bridges the gap between where one is and where one wants to be. Journaling also has the power to track progress. It is easy to feel stuck, to believe that nothing is changing, that growth is not happening. But looking back at past entries, at old fears that have been conquered, at dreams that have been realized provides undeniable proof of progress. It is a reminder that even in moments of doubt, growth is happening. Every written word is a step forward, a piece of the journey captured in time. Some people hesitate to journal because they feel they are not good writers. But journaling is not about perfect grammar or eloquent sentences. It is not about writing for an audience. It is about honesty, about expressing what needs to be expressed in whatever form it takes. The most powerful journal entries are not those written with careful wording, but those written with authenticity. Even a single sentence, a few words scribbled in a moment of realization, can hold deep meaning. Writing is also a tool for emotional release. Thoughts that are kept inside often build up, creating stress and anxiety. But when they are written, they lose their hold. The act of putting them on paper brings relief, a sense of release. It is a way to let go of what no longer serves, to free the mind from burdens it does not need to carry. Even emotions that feel overwhelming become less intimidating when they are expressed in words. The mind can be a noisy place, filled with doubts, fears, and distractions. But writing cuts through the noise. It brings focus, clarity, and understanding. It is a way to listen to oneself, to truly hear what is beneath the surface. And in that listening, in that deep self-reflection, purpose begins to emerge. The scattered pieces start to align, and what once felt confusing becomes clear. So do not just think, write. Capture the thoughts before they fade. Give them a space to exist, to grow, to guide you. Let writing be the tool that brings clarity to your purpose, that helps you understand yourself in ways thinking alone never could. Because words once written become a map, one that leads not just to understanding but to transformation. The mind is a powerful force. It has the ability to shape reality, to influence emotions, and to determine the course of life. But like any force, it requires direction. Left unchecked, it can become a breeding ground for fear, doubt, and negativity. The human mind naturally gravitates toward overthinking, especially in moments of stillness. When there are no distractions, it replays past mistakes, magnifies uncertainties, and creates problems that do not even exist. Overthinking is like quicksand. The more one struggles against it, the deeper it pulls them in. And before long, it becomes an endless cycle of fear, self-doubt, and worry. But just as easily as the mind can be filled with fear, it can also be filled with knowledge, inspiration, and wisdom. It can be nourished with ideas that uplift rather than thoughts that consume. This is why what one chooses to feed the mind with is crucial. The choice is always there, to either allow the mind to spiral into fear or to direct it towards something empowering. Reading is one of the most powerful ways to take control of this choice. Books have the ability to shift perspectives, to open new doors of understanding, to provide clarity in moments of confusion. The right words at the right time can completely transform a mindset. A single idea from a book can plant a seed of hope, confidence, or inspiration. While overthinking drowns the mind in endless questions, reading provides answers. It gives structure to thoughts, offering wisdom from those who have walked the path before. It reminds that struggles are not unique, that challenges have been faced and overcome by others, and that solutions exist even when they seem impossible. Fear thrives in an empty mind. When there is nothing to counter it, it grows, feeding on uncertainty and doubt. But when the mind is engaged, when it is occupied with ideas that inspire and empower, fear has no space to take root. Reading shifts focus from problems to possibilities. It expands knowledge, broadens understanding, and replaces worry with wisdom. Instead of being consumed by uncertainty, reading provides a sense of control. It equips the mind with tools to navigate challenges, with perspectives that make difficulties seem smaller, with stories that remind that resilience is possible. There is a reason why successful people prioritize reading. It is not just about gaining knowledge, it is about feeding the mind with thoughts that serve rather than thoughts that destroy. It is about surrounding oneself with voices that uplift rather than doubts that bring down. When one reads, they are not alone in their struggles. They are connected to minds that have endured, to ideas that have survived time, to wisdom that has shaped lives. In a moment of self-doubt, a single passage can reignite confidence. In a moment of fear, a single idea can bring reassurance. Many people struggle with overthinking because they do not know how to break the cycle. They try to silence their fears, but the more they resist, the stronger those fears become. But the solution is not to fight fear, it is to replace it. The mind cannot be empty, it will always be filled with something. The key is to choose what fills it. Instead of replaying doubts, fill it with words that empower. Instead of getting lost in uncertainty, fill it with knowledge that provides clarity. Reading is not just an escape, it is a tool for transformation. It rewires the mind, replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones. It shows what is possible instead of what is feared. It expands thinking beyond personal worries, reminding that the world is vast, that experiences are shared, that solutions exist. The books one chooses to read are like a compass. They can either lead toward growth or keep one trapped in fear. The decision lies in what is chosen. Fear whispers that problems are too big, that dreams are too far, that failure is inevitable. But books remind otherwise. They tell stories of those who faced impossible odds and still succeeded. They offer lessons from those who overcame doubt, who refused to be controlled by fear. They provide strategies, guidance, and a shift in mindset that makes challenges seem smaller. While overthinking keeps one stuck in uncertainty, reading offers direction. It provides the reassurance that even in the darkest moments there is light. Choosing to read something empowering is an act of self-care. It is a decision to nurture the mind instead of allowing it to be consumed by fear. It is a way to regain control over thoughts, to shift focus from anxiety to possibility. It is not about ignoring problems, but about approaching them with a mind that is strengthened rather than weakened by fear. The right words have the power to change everything, to turn doubt into confidence, confusion into clarity, and fear into courage. So in moments when overthinking takes hold, when fear begins to feel overwhelming, the choice is simple. Feed the mind, not the fear. Read something that uplifts. Fill the mind with wisdom rather than worry. Choose words that empower rather than thoughts that paralyze. Because in the battle between fear and knowledge, the mind will always reflect what it is most nourished with. The decision of what to feed it is always in one's hands. In the stillness of the early morning, before the noise of the world takes over, there exists a sacred space, a time when the mind is clear, the heart is open, and the soul is receptive. It is in this hour between darkness and dawn that one has the opportunity to connect with something greater, to align with the universe, and to set intentions that shape the day ahead. This time is not just an ordinary part of the day. It is a moment of alignment, a chance to tap into a higher power, to reflect, to seek guidance, and to manifest the life one desires. Praying, meditating, and manifesting are not separate actions, but interconnected practices that allow a person to cultivate inner peace, clarity, and purpose. When the world is still asleep and distractions are at a minimum, the energy is different. It is quieter, more powerful, more intimate. It is a time when prayers feel deeper, meditation feels lighter, and manifestation feels more potent. Before engaging with the demands of daily life, before the responsibilities and expectations of the world take over, this is the moment to align oneself with the universe. Prayer is more than just words spoken into the void. It is a dialogue with the divine. It is an act of surrender, of expressing gratitude, of seeking wisdom. It is not about asking for things, but about opening oneself to receive what is already meant to be. In prayer, there is strength. It is a moment to let go of burdens, to release fears, and to trust that there is a greater plan at work. When one prays, they are not just speaking, they are connecting. They are reminding themselves that they are not alone, that there is guidance available, that even in uncertainty, there is a path. Meditation is the stillness that follows prayer, the silence in which answers reveal themselves. It is the space between thoughts, the place where clarity emerges. While prayer is speaking to the universe, meditation is listening. It is allowing the mind to quiet, the heart to open, and the soul to receive. Meditation is not about controlling thoughts, but about observing them, about letting them pass without attachment, about finding the calm beneath the surface. In the stillness of meditation, worries begin to fade, anxieties lose their grip, and a sense of peace takes their place. It is in this silence that one reconnects with themselves, that they remember their purpose, that they become attuned to the energy of the universe. Manifestation is the act of bringing intention into reality. It is taking the clarity gained from meditation and the faith instilled through prayer and channeling it into action. The mind is most powerful in the early hours, when it is not yet cluttered with distractions, when it is still in a state of openness. This is when manifestations hold the most power. It is not just about wishing for something, but about aligning thoughts, emotions, and actions with what is desired. It is about visualizing goals, believing in their possibility, and taking steps to make them real. Many people wake up and immediately rush into their day, consumed by responsibilities, worries, and obligations. But those who take the time to align themselves first, to connect with something greater before engaging with the world, move through life differently. They are not reactive, but intentional. They do not let the chaos of the world dictate their mood, but instead they carry a sense of calm, purpose, and focus. They do not feel lost because they have already set their direction before the world even wakes up. The universe responds to energy. When one prays, they send energy into the world that says, I believe, I trust, I am ready. When they meditate, they align their inner energy with the flow of life. And when they manifest, they declare to the universe, this is who I am, this is what I desire, and I am open to receiving it. These practices are not about controlling life, but about co-creating it, about working in harmony with the energy that already exists. There is something powerful about being awake when the world is still sleeping. It is a reminder that this moment is special, that this time is sacred. While others are lost in dreams, this is the chance to create reality. While others are unconscious, this is the chance to be fully present, to set intentions that will shape not just the day, but the future. Every prayer whispered, every moment of stillness embraced, every intention set during this time has a ripple effect. It shapes thoughts, influences actions, and ultimately transforms life. Aligning with the universe is not about perfection, it is about connection. Some days prayers may feel effortless, while other days they may feel uncertain. Some mornings meditation may bring deep peace, while other times the mind may resist. Manifestation may feel powerful one day and doubtful the next, but the key is consistency. The act of showing up, of making space for this connection, of trusting that even when it does not feel like anything is happening, something is shifting beneath the surface. As the sun begins to rise, as the world starts to wake, those who have taken this time to align themselves carry something different with them. They move with a sense of purpose, with a quiet confidence, with an inner knowing that no matter what the day brings, they are grounded, they are connected, they are in harmony with the universe. This is the power of prayer, meditation, and manifestation, not just as separate practices, but as a way of life. Pain is a language of its own, speaking in whispers and echoes, shaping the way we see the world. It leaves marks, some visible, others buried deep within the soul. But pain is not meant to break. It is meant to mold, to transform, to strengthen. Every person who has walked this earth has faced struggles, heartbreak, and moments of despair. But what separates those who remain stuck from those who rise is a choice. The choice to turn pain into power. Every early wake up, every restless night, every moment of deep reflection in the silence of dawn is a reminder that the story is not over yet. It is a sign that there is still more to write, more to